Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel and I'm super excited to be back on ThermOWeb's YouTube channel today. I have a bunch of Christmas cards to share with you today because it's great to get a start on those Christmas cards early so you don't have to stress later. And I have a technique to create multicolor foiled cards by using that very old technique of paper piecing. So I'm going to use the iCraft Deco Foil Unity Toner card fronts. I have several of holiday styles and I'm going to use anything that is black on those card fronts can be foiled. So I'm going to use some Deco foils today. You can see I have a piece here where the gold is the color. So I'm going to put the silver side facing that toner. I'm just going to flip it over so that I can cut it just slightly larger than my card front. And the reason we do that is because if it shifts around in your laminator or while you're making your sandwich, you don't have to worry about missing a spot. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it inside a parchment paper sandwich. Remember, the silver side is facing the toner, the color side is facing you. And the parchment paper sandwich is just a nice piece of parchment paper folded in half. That fold is going to be inserted into a very hot laminator, heated up for a good 10, 15, even 20 minutes. And then once it comes out and it is cooled, we do the peel and reveal. So you can see I have foiled a bunch of card fronts at once because I want to be able to include several colors of each of the card fronts on one completed card. Now the excess that you don't use can be used for a future card in the same paper piecing technique. And I absolutely love all these shiny foils on these beautiful card fronts. Makes it really easy to create a foiled card front. You could use these just as is, of course, but we're gonna have a little fun mixing and matching some of these colors, especially look at these beautiful holiday lights and the ornaments as well. Just so many pretty designs that are so easy to use. So I have the trees in two different colors. One's gold and one is jade. And I'm taking the jade and just cutting out the trees so that the snowfall in the background will remain gold and the trees that are really cute, they're kind of sketched looking, they will be in jade. This is really super easy to do because they are just basic shapes, these triangles and some little edges, but really very, very simple. I am not much of a fussy cutter. I don't have a lot of patience for that, but even I was able to do them. Now, all I'm going to use is some ThermOWeb Memory Runner XL. This is my favorite tape runner. That's all you need to adhere the little jade shaped trees down to the gold card front on the bottom there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some tape runner behind all of them and just adhere them right on top so that, again, the trees are in that pretty jade color and the background snowfall is that gold. And that's a really simple way to get two colors on this card front. Now with this one, this is the ornament string lights. And again, I want several colors of the bulbs. You could cut out the strings and the little caps and all the other stuff. I decided to work on the green card front and just cut out several different colored bulbs. I think it looks super cute with the green string because I know a lot of light strings are actually green, so I think that works perfect here. And it also makes it a lot easier for you to do the paper piecing and the fussy cutting. So anytime you can look at the shape and see what is the simplest way to go about this, I say that's a win. So I have now green bulbs, red bulbs, and the blue is called Ocean Blue. I will list all the colors of foil that I use down below in the YouTube description box. And how cute is that? Okay, same thing with the presents. Now you could absolutely cut out those little bowstrings. I felt like that was too much work. So for the most part, I just cut out the present boxes and left the strings the same color that the base color is going to be, which again is going to be gold this time. So I am just fussy cutting around the present boxes themselves, and I'm going to be able to have different colored present boxes, pretty much all the same strings, except for this guy, the bow is so thick, I thought, might as well cut it out as well. And I still think even though it's different than the others, it still looks really super cute. And I love all the designs of the wrapping paper on these presents. They're so sweet. So it's fun to have them in different colors as well. Now you could try and do this by cutting little bits of foil and only trying to cover up certain parts. I honestly think this is a lot easier. In this case, where each piece is pretty close to the piece next to it, I think it's a lot easier just to fussy cut around each of these presents and then use that tape runner to adhere them down. And then we've got a card with multicolored foil presents. For this one, I am going to cut around the ornament here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 different colored ornaments. I haven't quite decided yet. So, okay, the left one is going to be silver, the right one is going to be gold, and the one in the center, the outside is going to remain silver, but I'm going to cut out another present in the ocean blue foil, and I'm going to place it at the bottom. I'm going to use this other ornament as a guide, and I'm going to cut a curved edge around the bottom of the present. So you can see I'm just cutting it in a circular arc along the bottom of the present, following that guideline that I used from the other ornament card so that I could adhere it down at the bottom of this ornament and it will look like it is sitting at the bottom there. So I'm just going to use again my tape runner to adhere the gold present. I did cut the little cap out of that one so that only the string remained silver. And then the present is going to go in the middle or at the bottom of the center ornament there, and I just absolutely love how cute this turned out. So these are all of the card fronts now that I have that have been foiled and paper pieced. So I want to turn these all into cards. So I'm going to do that really quickly to share how you can add a little bit of some extra fun to these and some sentiments. I'm using the waffle flower oversized joy die. I cut the shadow out of vellum and then I cut the actual word itself out of a silver cardstock. So I'm going to use Ultra Bond this time because that joy is so thin, and I like the pen format of the Ultra Bond because it's easy to hold in your hand and it moves around this type of script font very easily. You don't need a ton, you don't want it to be gloppy, you just want a little bit everywhere so that it stays adhered down onto that vellum. And then once that's done, I'm going to flip this over and put some more of the Ultra Bond just where the joy script is. This way we can hide it behind that vellum there and adhere that down. And I really love the way this looks. It's simple, but it's really pretty, and the glitter in addition to the foil is fun. So I thought I would cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4 and then use some of that Ultra Bond to mat it down to some green glitter cardstock. Whenever I'm adhering to glitter cardstock, I like to use liquid glue because tape runner doesn't adhere as well on the glitter. Okay, for this next card, I did stamp Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly from another waffle flower stamp set. This stamp set for these sentiments also has matching dies, so I'm going to use some purple tape to hold it in place and then die cut it out. Once again, a little Ultra Bond on the panel, which has been cut down to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I can hear it down and look at that brilliant blue in the background, which is also glitter. I'm going to use ThermOWeb's 3D foam squares. I love how you can just pull on the edge and they just pop right up ready to use so that I can add some dimension to that sentiment. That's why having the dies to cut out the sentiment is a lot of fun. I'm going to add a bunch of little silver dots using some Tonic Studios Nouveau crystal drops just to add some extra dimension, and I love dots on holiday cards. For the presents card, I'm going to use Waffle Flower's Nesting Christmas Tree die to cut out some silver glitter cardstock. And then I'm going to adhere the panel, which I've cut down to 4 by 5 1/4, to that same piece of silver glitter that I cut the tree out of, because we don't need the center anymore. I'm going to use some of ThermOWeb's foam tape on the roll. I love how much you get on this roll here, and I'm going to use that to pop up the tree in the center of all of those presents. And I like the foam tape for this because then you don't have to peel off 100 little backings on the squares, it absolutely works perfectly on this large tree. I did stamp another sentiment from that same stamp set that says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and I'm going to heat emboss it in gold embossing powder, and then I'm also going to die cut this out. That is absolutely my favorite thing to do with sentiments these days because I love adding dimension to them. So I did put some foam squares behind this and popped that up on top of the tree. For the ornament card, I am going to stamp the sentiment right on the ornament on top of that present there. I'm using the Stamp Market's Cobalt ink, and I'm just going to double stamp it to really get that color to pop on that ornament. I love how you have the option with the stamp set to just stamp it or stamp and die cut it. I cut that panel down once again to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I am once again using some ThermOWeb's Ultra Bond liquid glue to adhere that panel down to a glitter cardstock in an A2 horizontal format. And then I'm just going to use some clear enamel dots from Waffle Flower to add a little bit of embellishment to this card. So those are all 4 of my Christmas cards made with Unity toner card fronts and foil and paper piecing. Really simple to do, great, lots of color and shine added to those cards with this technique, and I hope you'll give it a try. If you're interested in any of the supplies that I used today, they'll all be linked down below. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.